You're thinking about buying your first home, but the mortgage part, the money part, well, how does that work? Do you call your bank? Do you start scrolling listings? What's your first step to make sure you're prepared? Let's walk you through this step by step so you don't have to learn the hard way. Hey guys, my name is Ben. I'm a mortgage broker in Kelowna, BC. And like most people, when I bought my first place, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Now, I help first-time homebuyers figure this out. So in this video, we'll walk you through the full mortgage process, step by step, with no confusing lingo, just a simple playbook. So by the end, you'll know exactly what to expect and what to do next. The first step is pretty simple. You're going to want to talk to someone who understands how mortgages work. You could go to your bank, and a lot of people still do. In fact, when my grandfather bought his first home, he walked into his local branch, sat down with someone that he knew, and he got a mortgage. Because back then, that's how it worked. You had a relationship with your banker. Well, when was the last time you called your bank and spoke to the same person twice? There's no real relationship anymore. It's more of a call center with a 1-800 number. And the other thing, more importantly, banks can only offer you their own products. If their policies or their lending products don't fit your situation, well, that's it. There is no second opinion. That's why a lot of first-time homebuyers choose to work with a mortgage broker instead. You'll get access to a ton of different lenders, and more importantly, you'll have someone in your corner from start to finish. A mortgage broker will help match you to a lender that actually fits your income, your credit, your goals, and your timeline. Think of it like this. Going to the bank is like going to one store, whereas working with a mortgage broker is like walking into the entire mall with a personal shopper helping you find the right fit. The first step is all about getting clarity. Where do you stand? What's realistic? And if you're not quite ready, what's the plan to get you there? It's not about pressuring you to do something in a specific amount of time. It's about getting you prepared with the right information from day one, so you know what to do. Once you've spoken to a mortgage broker or a lender, the next step is to get you pre-approved, not just with a rate quote, but a real pre-approval. And here's what that means. You're more than likely going to need to complete a short application where we will talk about your income, your debts, your assets, your employment. Then you'll upload a few documents, things like pay stubs, tax returns, your ID, and bank statements. From there, we're going to be building a full file, just like we would if you were buying today. We'll look at your income, your credit score, your job history, and your debt load. Everything that a lender will eventually need to approve you. Because the worst thing that you can do is fall in love with a home that you were not going to qualify for in the first place. And once that happens, everything else feels like a compromise. This isn't just about numbers either. It's about being ready when the right place shows up, without scrambling, without panic, or second guessing. A full pre-approval will tell you 3 important things. 1, what you qualify for. 2, what your monthly payments will look like. And 3, what issues, if any, need to be fixed before you start shopping. Here's what most people miss. They focus on getting the lowest rate and they ignore everything else. And that can be an expensive move. What happens if you break your mortgage early? Can you take it with you if you move? Or are you stuck starting all over again? Can you refinance? Can you make lump sum payments? Or are there penalties that are included that no one has explained? These are the kind of things that people don't ask until it's too late, which is why a proper pre-approval doesn't just give you a number. It shows you the terms behind that number so you're not surprised later on. Don't just get pre-approved for the sake of it. Get properly pre-approved by someone who's asking the right questions and looking at the full picture. That's how you go out and shop with confidence and avoid nasty surprises later. Once you are pre-approved, the next step is understanding what that actually means for your budget. A lot of buyers hear, well, you're approved for $600,000 and assume that that's what they should spend. But just because you can doesn't mean that you should. If we take a second to break this down, there are 3 main things to think about. The first is your mortgage payment. Second, your property taxes and insurance. And then upkeep, repairs, and maintenance. And then there's the big one buyers typically forget, your closing costs. That includes legal fees, property transfer tax, possible inspection, and that can add up fast. So I always recommend you budget for at least 2% of the purchase price, depending on where you're buying. Now, your pre-approval is based on your gross income and credit risk, but your real monthly budget depends on your lifestyle. What are you spending your money on right now? Is it rent, groceries, car payments, childcare? If your new home puts you in a financial chokehold, you won't care that your broker got you an extra $20,000 of buying power. This is where we zoom zoom out and ask, what's the monthly number that actually fits your life? What makes you comfortable? Because the goal isn't to max out your approval. The goal is to buy a home that you can comfortably own and enjoy, one that you can afford to live in without stretching yourself too thin. Once you know your own numbers, the next move is obvious. You start looking at homes. But this is where a lot of people slip up. They lead with emotion instead of strategy. House hunting is definitely exciting, but without a plan, it's easy to waste a ton of time or fall for something that doesn't actually work for you. I recommend you focus on 3 things. 1, what you need. 2, what you can afford. And 3, what trade-offs you're willing to make. Price, location, size, and condition. It's rare that you get all 4, so which one matters the most to you? And what are you willing to compromise on? If you're working with a realtor, which you should, let them know that you are pre-approved. It makes you a stronger buyer. It shows that you're serious. And when the right place comes up, you will be ready to move. This part of the process can feel emotional. You'll see homes that are so close but not quite right. You'll question if now is still the right time. All of that is completely normal. The goal here is not to rush, but it's also not to wait so long so that you miss the right opportunity. If your numbers are solid, your pre-approval is current, and your expectations are clear, you're good to go. Now you've found the right home, you're ready to make an offer. This is where everything you've done so far starts to pay off. With a strong pre-approval in place, you know what you can afford and what your next move is. You'll work with a realtor to write your offer. Most offers will include a few key conditions: financing, home inspection, sometimes property disclosure review, and some others. These give you time to confirm that everything checks out before you're locked in. But let's focus on the financing piece. This is where your full application will go to the lender, along with the accepted offer, income documents. The lender will review everything again. They'll often order an appraisal and confirm final approval in writing. Once that's in place, you can remove your financing conditions so you can move forward. But here's the key. Even with a pre-approval, final approval is not guaranteed. Lenders, they still need to approve the property itself. If something is off, the price, the condition, the location, they still have a right to decline it. That's why it's critical to have someone managing this process for you, working with you each step of the way, making sure that the paperwork is right and the lender gets what they need so nothing falls through the cracks. This part can move fast, but if you've done the prep work, it won't feel overwhelming. Once your offer is accepted and your conditions are removed, you are officially under contract. But there's still a bit of work to do before you move in. First, your mortgage details are finalized with your lawyer or your notary. They'll walk you through that paperwork. They'll confirm the numbers, handle the title registration, and register your mortgage. At this point, you're just tying up the final details. Things like confirming your home insurance, getting your down payment ready to transfer, and covering your closing costs. Because you've already planned for this, now it's just about following the steps. Your lender sends the mortgage funds to your lawyer, and you'll transfer your down payment and closing costs through your bank. Your lawyer will handle the full transaction. And when it's all finalized, the home is officially yours. Keys will typically exchange on closing day, the date you and the seller agreed in the contract. And that's it. You're in. From the outside, it can look like a simple transaction, but behind the scenes, there are a lot of moving parts. So that's why having someone in your corner from the first conversation to final signature can make a massive difference. So that's the full process, start to finish, from first conversation to keys in hand. It's not about guessing, it's about knowing what each step looks like so you're ready when it matters. If you're thinking about buying your first home and you want someone to walk you through it the right way, I'd love to help build a plan that actually fits for you. Thanks for watching, guys. If this video helped, do me a favor, hit that silly little like button, subscribe, or send this to someone who needs to get their shit together. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.